We were right again! Don't you just love being right? I don't, not in this case. I just want good games, man. Avowed is a failure. I knew it. As soon as you see the blue-haired leftist freaks, I don't actually know if they were blue-haired, I just saw the tweets. But as soon as you see the leftist freaks being involved in these games, already you know that it's going to be a massive failure every single fucking time. Avowed, dead on arrival.
So if you've never played Skyrim and you've played Oblivion, Skyrim is already a dumbed down version of Oblivion.
True.
So imagine that, but now times that by like 100, and that's what this game. This game is super dumbed down compared to Skyrim. So if you're coming from Oblivion,
what is that dialogue? Those are Fallout 4 choices, but you get less of them. Instead of you get 3 choices, you only get 2 and a remain silent. That's insane.
This game is super dumbed down compared to Skyrim. So if you're coming from Oblivion, you're definitely going to feel like you walked into the Special Olympics or something.
I can get.
Okay, you know what? They're just a side character. It doesn't matter. I don't need to criticize it too heavily. Why would I criticize a game? That's what a bigot would do.
When I first heard about the game Avowed, I'm gonna be honest, I genuinely was interested enough to potentially play it when it came out. And I know that sounds crazy to say for someone that never potentially play it when it came out. And I know.
And then you get this weird purple stuff. This weird purple color that all of these games use. I don't know what it is with this color purple. What is it? Like, somebody please explain this to me. Because it's in all of them.
I know that sounds crazy to say for someone that never seems to play games online that I would actually take the time to dive into this one. But no, it looked like the style of game that I love, right in the vein of Skyrim.
It's too colorful. There's too many colors and there's more of the purple stuff.
Or even going back to as far as Kingsfield, that style game I love. And then I did more research. I found out about the art director, Matt Hansen, and the behind-the-scenes problems going on at Obsidian that I covered in detail on this channel was just a massive turnoff for me. Leading up to the launch of the game and seeing what it turned out to be, I'm like, it looks like I expected it to. Like a fairly generic, average-looking game, and the experience that people have been playing it seem to have the same response when they're reviewing it. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. And Avowed is looking to be a game that is everything but successful.
Too many bears. Hey, look, there's that purple color again. It's got slight purple tint. It's everywhere.
All accounts that I see out there saying that it is the definition of mid, and the number out there saying
I can't tell if this is like pecs or straight up woman tits. It looks like woman tits. It doesn't look like pecs.
That it is the definition of mid, and the numbers on Steam as of now being available for everyone to play.
Hold up. What are the numbers right now? Like right now. Oh no. Oh no. It dipped. And so it's going to be sitting around 13,000 probably for a couple weeks. And then it's going to drop off. That's awful. 24-hour peak was 17,000. And that was probably like this morning, right? Yeah. Yeah, it was this morning. It reached its peak. I don't know how they recovered from this. This is insane.
Play it, didn't really even give it that much of a bump in player count. Right now, as of recording this video, we're looking at just over 15,000 concurrent players for a game that was supposed to be one of the next flagship titles coming out of Microsoft Studio Obsidian, and what ended up happening was a massive flop.
Yeah, people are saying that it's very good. That's what it's rating on Steam right now, is very good. But very good ain't good enough when people are giving it a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, and it's totally fucking not, and that is a lie. And it's got the DEI stuff in it. I don't know how much is in it, but definitely the art style is there for the DEI slop.
Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out smashjt.com for the full article breaking down Avowed reviews and how you probably shouldn't be believing Metacritic right now with the 80 overall score compared to basically what happened with Dragon Age the Veilguard, and it seems like this game will be following the same.
This is just Dragon Age the Veilguard 2. We all saw it coming. Even if it was gonna be better, I think it's gonna end up being worse. Because this is literally like just the second coming of Dragon Age the Veilguard, and people were tired of it. They are tired of it. And I'm not tired of it. Just keep them coming. Keep failing. Keep releasing your slop. And I'm just going to keep making videos. Smash JT's going to keep making videos. Asmongold's going to keep making videos. We're all just going to keep raking in that cash.
Trajectory. In fact, it actually looks worse. Avowed has officially released to all players following the 5-day early access period, and don't even get me started on early access periods for games, because that is the bane.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh, Avowed has reached the top sales chart for early access games. Early access games. That means that it released the top charts on games that are not finished.
Of my existence. I've said this before, I'll say it again. When a game's ready to be sold, put it for sale for everyone. I'm done with this early access, pay extra money to play it sooner thing. I never got behind that, nor will I ever in the
You're just paying extra to play the broken version. That's all you're doing.
future. The numbers right now coming out for this game, based off of Steam charts, are not looking great. They are painting a painfully grim picture for the future of what Avowed could potentially amount to. With only around 15,000 players on Steam at launch, Avowed is looking more and more like it's already going to be an undeniable flop. And to put this all in perspective, like I was saying at the open here, comparing it to Dragon Age the Veilguard, because it's a similar player base, the same style type of game, fantasy world. Okay, let's throw these together. Dragon Age the Veilguard, by all accounts, was a massive
Dragon Age the Veilguard reached like 90,000 peak concurrent players, probably because of all the people that were just making fun of it because it was ridiculously stupid. And from what I've heard, Avowed is just boring and ugly. And the colors are nice.
Flop, being in development for around a decade and not making anywhere close to the money back that it needed. And then we compare Avowed to it, which is not even getting about an eighth of the player count to Dragon Age the Veilguard. And yes, I know it's the launch day of the game and the weekend hasn't come yet, so the numbers will most likely rise from here, but I gotta be honest with you, based off of the start that it's had, I wouldn't imagine it getting much higher. I mean, maybe it could double the player count from 15,000 to 30,000.
It's just not interesting. Like, even if they didn't have any of the DEI stuff, even if the characters looked good, if they left everything else the way it is, it's just not interesting. We don't want this kind of game, especially when everybody's waiting for the next Elder Scrolls. After all of these other RPGs have burned us, we're not going to be getting into another RPG that's going to burn us. We'd rather just go back and play Oblivion with mods.
Concurrently, but that is a massive failure from what you got to imagine Microsoft was assuming to be their next flagship title that they were going to be releasing. And as I spoke about in my previous video, what was once hyped by many shills leading up to the release as the potential next generation RPG heavyweight has instead turned into what looks to be a colossal failure, exposing the cracks in both Microsoft's Game Pass strategy and Obsidian's overall ability to deliver a game that resonates in today's market together. And this is where we gotta dive into Game Pass, because I'm sure there's gonna be shills and defenders of Microsoft, because God, you gotta question your reality if you're defending Microsoft at this point, but we're
just go back and look at some other games. Look at the Steam DB charts of games that are on Steam that are also on Game Pass. You can use that to compare what the player count is going to be like. And I don't think Game Pass even matters anyway. I know a lot of people that'll jump into a game and leave it on the start menu and never play it for hours, and then they'll keep doing that for days in a row. Literally, my ex-roommate would do that. He did that with so many games, like the Assassin's Creed Valhalla he did that with. He just left it on the start menu for like 3 days straight.
regardless of that, say you're defending it saying, oh, there's Game Pass though, Smash, so it's really not as bad as it looks like. And you're like, okay, but you had EA Play with Dragon Age, and that ate into the player count as well.
The worst thing is it's not bad. It's good, which means mid. People saying that it's good. It's just mid. And nobody wants to play something that's mid, because mid is worse than bad. Mid means boring. Bad means funny.
Well, and they still got nearly 90,000 concurrent, so how is Game Pass eating into it that much more? Maybe there's just a lot more people on Game Pass that could be accounting for it, I guess? But at the end of the day, is that something you really want to fall back on as a game company where you're not even selling your games anymore? And most people...
Right? My brother is going to play it just to try it out to see how it is. I guarantee you he's going to quit very early because he's going to get bored. Because he does that with a lot of games that are like this. He quit Oblivion and Skyrim because he got bored. I mean, come on. He's definitely going to quit this if people are saying this is a dumber version of Skyrim.
People are just passing on purchasing Game Pass because they don't want to be bothered with it. While the service itself provides some easy access to new titles for subscribers, it, at the same time, also kills any sense of urgency or value in actually purchasing games in the first.
Moving forward, people aren't going to be like playing this game like Skyrim, Oblivion, even Morrowind. People still pick up Morrowind sometimes. This is not going to be one of those games where people do that. Unless the modding scene goes crazy, but I doubt that. Everything looks too ugly and too messy, and I guarantee you the programming is based on a lot of AI copy-paste, like copy-pasting from AI, and people aren't going to want to make mods for it.
First place, why would you spend $70 or more?
Yeah, bringing it back to the mods. Also, I guarantee you they will be banning a lot of people's mods because they don't fit the narrative and the agenda
On a game after taxes when you can just go play it on a lower price subscription, and then you look over at the subscription and you say, wait, if I do that I don't own the game, so do I even want to purchase the subscription to buy this game that honestly, based off of the early reviews of YouTubers, are saying it's just a mid experience? No, most people are going to probably step off the gas and say, I'll wait, I don't need to play this game, or, I don't know, maybe I'll go play Skyrim, which right now, hysterically, has nearly 30,000 people concurrently playing it. A game that is...
Bro, it's like actually has gotten me to want to reinstall Skyrim and get the anniversary edition to get the stupid fishing mechanic and install a whole bunch of mods. Not gonna do that. I actually do have Oblivion and Morrowind installed. I might play those instead. Maybe on my gaming channel.
13 plus years old, and you look at Avowed and you're like, well, if that's the case, why are we making new games if we can't make them better than the games that came before them? The result is a game that launches with an extremely weak player engagement, little to no hype, and no long-term financial incentive to make up for the shortcomings.
There was no hype. All I saw was cope. It was nothing but cope, where people were just like, this game's not woke, it's just gonna be a normal game, it's just gonna be a regular good game, it's not gonna be a masterpiece. And everybody's looking for a masterpiece. Nobody's looking for a good game anymore. There's too many good games.
Inconsistence on day one Game Pass releases continue to erode the traditional game sales model, and could...
Especially when it's a game that's gonna be like 100 hours plus long. They don't want to be feeling good throughout the entire experience with some bad parts thrown in there and some jank thrown in there. They want a masterpiece that they're gonna spend 100 hours plus in.
Could eat away at the very fabric of the video game industry in general. Players aren't buying games anymore because the subscription model has conditioned them not to. But the problem is compounded when the games themselves...
He means buying new released games. Because I'm still buying games. I'm just buying old ones.
...themselves aren't strong enough to keep players engaged to the long haul. By most accounts, Avowed doesn't exactly offer a deep, compelling experience to make it worth full price anyways. And with so many people playing other great games before this, why would they push those away to the side to rush and play Avowed when there's nothing special about it anyways. This is one of those situations where maybe if Avowed released back in 2010 or so as the successor to Oblivion, gamers maybe have celebrated it as an instant classic for back then, but in 2025, the game feels by many to be outdated and uninspired. While it borrows elements from Skyrim, it fails to deliver the same immersion and depth that that game gave to the player base. Instead of being a fantasy RPG that fans expected, Avowed is turning into more of a action RPG in the vein of Kingdom of Amalur and Elderborn, where it comes action first and RPG mechanics secondary. The shift is a key factor in the mixed reception.
Yeah, if you're gonna have 100 hours plus of just fighting, people are gonna get tired of that. They want in-depth story, they want good characters, they want good places. Everything kind of looks like the same theme, and it kind of feels samey.
That I've been seeing. The game doesn't offer any kind of narrative depth of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 or any kind of open world exploration like Skyrim had. No. Instead, players are getting this mid-tier experience with small, segmented areas disguised as a larger open world, and it really
looks like a bunch of other games that people have played, and it looks like a bunch of other games that people have not played and do not want to play. It reminds me of Failguard. It reminds everybody of Failguard.
Breaks the immersion of the overall game experience. What initially appeared to be a vast explorable map is actually just 4 separate zones, roughly equal size, which I gotta be honest, is hardly the sprawling adventure that a lot of people were probably looking forward to out of a title like Avowed. The sentiment surrounding the game is one where...
So you can't even kill the NPCs, which, like, even their previous game, you could do that.
It's not the worst game ever. No, far from it. Friend of the channel, Hypnotic, put it pretty well when he said, the game is the definition of mid. For every really cool thing it does, there are things that knock it way down a peg and ultimately leaves him with a sour taste in his mouth. The stark contrast between the critic reviews and actual player reception is becoming a trend in modern gaming that I and many other people have been seeing. And it all signals a growing distrust between the consumers and the gaming media. The reality check comes when user reviews inevitably come out and will, by all...
Why couldn't you just grab the ledge of the thing that you were trying to jump over? And it was a walkway. Why couldn't you do that? Like, what? You can do that in Baldur's Gate 3. You can do that in most modern games now, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. If it looks like a place that you can climb on, you can usually climb on it.
Accounts be overwhelmingly mid. That's what I'm expecting, but right now they aren't there, so we gotta take professional journos for their word and how they like the game. And if Dragon Age Veilguard was any indicator, I would say again. Let's not listen to them.
Whoa! What are the IGN 9 out of 10 checkpoint game? These are 10s across the board. Did these people even fucking play it?
On this one, Microsoft and Obsidian can't be pleased with these numbers, at least I'd imagine. Avowed was supposed to be a major release, but it now joins the growing list of Game Pass titles that launched to very weak engagement.
Oh, by the way, those were for BioWare's game, Failguard, not this Avowed game. I just never looked at the reviews. I didn't realize people were giving that game 10s.
And failed to make any kind of meaningful impact. The writing's been on the wall for some time. Game Pass has been devaluing games for a while, and studios are struggling to create content compelling enough to thrive in that ecosystem. While the future of gaming, once promised as an era of seamless access and endless content, has...
These characters look gay and retarded. So far, every single one of them has. They look like the insane people on Twitter, who still call it Twitter.
Has become something far from that. Instead of delivering the must-play experiences, companies like Microsoft and Obsidian are churning out mid-tier games that players feel no urgency to buy or finish in the first place. And if
all the characters look like they came out of like a 12-year-old's coloring book.
Players feel no urgency to buy or finish in the first place. And if you can't get your customers to get excited about your product, chances are that's not going to be a successful product in the long haul. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information, check out smashjt.com.
There's also a really big problem when your actual real fans are having to defend your game so much that by the time they actually get to your game and they feel like it's mid, they're like, I don't even want to give this game a chance anymore. I'm just going to put it down because I'm just burnt out on it, burnt out on defending it, and it end up being the thing that everybody said it was.
For the full article. I will link this in the description below. If you appreciate what I'm doing, hit that join button. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
So can I just jump in the water? No, that was funny. That squeal coming out of somebody with such a beard.
Smash,
Well, there goes another game that nobody's gonna be talking about in about a year, except for when they just mention it in the offhand that, hey, these are some games that failed from last year. Because there's gonna be a lot of those videos at the end of this year. Biggest flops of 2025. Avowed. Number 1. Because Microsoft thought it was gonna be 10 out of 10. It was gonna be the next Skyrim. That's what everybody was saying it was. And I knew it wasn't gonna be. And here we are. Even the people who said this was gonna be the next Skyrim aren't fucking playing it. Let's go, man. It's happening. The AAA gaming industry is done for. Game journos, done for. The only reason they even get views anymore is because we all make fun of them. We're the ones giving them the views because we're like, look how ridiculous this person is. And I think they're starting to become aware of that, and they're kind of pushing a little harder into it, I think. But that's only good for them in the short term, because eventually people are going to get tired of that. They're going to get bored of that and move on to something else. Because that's the way of the internet. We go in trends, we go in waves, and we'll move on to something else, and we'll forget about you. And you'll still be there, like, giving Dragon Age the Veilguard 10 out of 10 in games like that. Ridiculous. I bet we're going to be seeing all these same people saying, Fair Games is the next Rainbow Six Siege killer. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to be competing against, but that's what it feels like to me that it's going to be competing against. Don't know what kind of game that is. Don't even know if you know what Fair Games is. It's a new game about, I don't know. It's a competitive shooter and eat the rich, I guess. I am so ready to go back and play a bunch of these old games that I haven't played before. All of these failures give me time to do that. I've got gaming channel linked down there in my comments. I've got stuff in the description if you want to donate to me. I'd love that, man. I love you. Get out of my house.